this evening. I'm Darieth Chisholm. I thank you so much for being a part of this special training this evening. We are doing it via Google Hangout, so it is live, and we're going to hope that the technology gods are with us this evening and taking care of us. I also want to encourage you to turn off your cell phones if possible, close down your windows, your browsers, other than this one, of course. Get off of Facebook, get off of Twitter. We realize that in this very busy world, we're constantly multitasking. Over the next 45 minutes or so, I do have a lot of information that I'd like to share with you, so I want to make sure that I have your attention. You've decided to take the time to be with us this evening, so we want to make sure that you get all of the information that you need. We've asked that if you are just joining us and for some reason you're seeing a delay, to continue to hit refresh and play so that you're able to view this Google Hangout live. You may need to do that depending on what browser you're on. And again, we are asking if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself in the chat role, letting us know where you're from. If you've got a podcast, tell us what it is. If you're interested in launching a podcast in the next 30, 60, 90 days, let me know that as well, because we want to make sure that we're supporting you throughout. I'm going to tell you a whole lot more about podcasting. Certainly I'm going to tell you about myself, so you'll get to learn more about that, and we want to learn more about you. But I want to first introduce you to some of my team members. You probably see them at the bottom of your screen, and I'd like to introduce you to the people who really help me do what I do, and I really can't do it without their help, and I'm so grateful for that. Kelly Frost is my executive assistant, as well as the producer for Hustle and Heart TV, my video podcast show. Kelly, if you wouldn't mind unmuting and saying hello to everyone.
Hi, how is everybody tonight? Hopefully doing well. Nice to see everyone tonight.
All right, fantastic. Thanks so much. And you also see the lovely Allison Blackwell. She's also on our team, and she is your Video Podcast Academy concierge and director, and we're going to tell you all about that in a moment. Allison, if you could please say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody. Great that you could join us.
Awesome. So these two lovely ladies are also in the chat role, available to answer any questions that you may have. So if it's something that perhaps is a question about video podcasting, I will definitely, or podcasting, I should say, I'll be coming back to take a look at those questions at the end of this presentation, so be sure to type them in, and then if Kelly or Allison can answer the questions for you during the training, then you'll get an answer from them as well. So feel free to ask any questions throughout the chat. I would love, though, to first off focus on you and focus on why you're here this evening. If podcasting or video podcasting has recently piqued your interest, I thank you for being here to learn a little bit more. But really, I want to delve into why and what you believe podcasting can do for you and your business and your brand and your future. More importantly, let's talk about why you are prepared to unleash your voice. What about telling the world who you are and what your message is and your purpose and your gifts and your talents? What about that, like, it stirs you? What is it that calls you to being present in this moment of podcasting? And for you, what is it that, why would this matter to you more than anything else? You're noticing another guest that's joining us really quickly on the screen. Denise, I'm going to ask if you wouldn't mind muting your microphone for us, and then we'll get back to you. Denise is going to be joining us, telling us later about how podcasting has changed her life, the success that she's been having in her experience. So you'll hear from her in a moment, but thanks for joining us on this as well. But back to you. You're here for a very good reason, and clearly it makes sense for you to share with us your message. That's what podcasting is all about. When you think about some of the greats in this industry, they've just decided that they would take a leap of faith and get out there and put their message into the world, and we know that podcasting can definitely do that for you. What I'd also love for you to think about is, what are those three things, the three most important things that you'd like to see happen as a result of podcasting? For you, what would life be like if you had a show that allowed you the opportunity to really connect with your audience, to connect with those people who are important to you as clients or customers? Maybe you're able to build your brand and your influence through podcasting. if you would take a moment and maybe write those 3 things down, I'd love to know, and if you'd post them for us, that would be great, to tell us what are your goals around podcasting and what is it that you hope that you'd like to achieve. The other thing I want you to consider is to imagine being a successful podcaster. Imagine what that would bring to you. What would it feel like if you'd have the opportunity to have advertisers and sponsors lining up to pay you to be on your show? What would it feel like for you if you had the opportunity to repurpose some of the content from your show and finally produce a book, right? For a lot of us, as bloggers, as authors, as speakers, we have a book inside of us. Maybe you can repurpose the content from your podcast or your video podcast show to be able to do that. What would it feel like for you if you would be able to work from any place, from home, from a different location, to interview people as part of your guest? As a podcast show host, you can definitely do that. I live in Pittsburgh, but I'm here in Florida, in my Florida home, in my dining room podcasting. And doing this live training with you. That is the power of podcasting and what it can mean for you. So just take a moment and imagine that. And take another moment and imagine letting go of any fears or doubts that might be holding you back. Because often it's just that. It's a process of just deciding, my message is so important, I'm ready to unleash it to the world, and I'm ready to play a bigger part. I'm ready to stand up and unapologetically be who I am and share my message with the world. Get my business and my brand out there through podcasting. So if you're ready for all of that, let's get started. Let's dive into this training. I've got a lot that I want to share with you, including 14 reasons why you ought to be podcasting right away. We'll talk about 5 easy steps to putting your podcast together. We're going to focus on the 3 biggest challenges that most newbie podcasters face. And I want you to stick around because towards the end of this live training, I will be giving away a couple of gifts and a couple of bonuses. But that means you need to stick and stay and be active in the chat roll in order to take advantage of that. So let's get started, and I'll tell you a little bit more about why we feel like it's so important for you to truly unleash your voice and share it with the world. Now is the time to make sure that you're doing that, and there's no better time than podcasting. You know, I have been doing this for the last couple of months, and as I share with you my experience around that, you'll come to understand that there's been some ups and downs. I mean, I think we all face challenges in our own way. Hang on a second, I can hear myself. These wonderful pieces of technology that we have going. So in the slide presentation, podcasting and video podcasting, as far as I'm concerned, it is the most significant way to build your brand, your influence, and connect with your clients and your customers in the world. When you think about podcasting, you think about getting out there and focusing on delivering a message. But don't just take it from me. I want you to take it from major magazines and publications that are touting how powerful podcasting is. 39 million Americans have listened to a podcast in the last month. 63% of those people bought something from a podcast host who'd shared it on the air. So imagine if you've got a product or a service that you are positioning to be sold on your podcast show and how powerful and impactful that can be. New Yorker magazine says that we're in the golden age of podcasting, and one industry group estimates that 50% of all cars sold in 2015, this year, folks, will be internet connected, and 100% by 2025. If you're listening if you're listening to podcasts in your car right now through your dashboard, I want you to tell me about that in the chat roll, because I am finding that there are more people who are listening to their podcast, their favorite podcast, while they're driving to work or to the grocery store or going to work out. Fortune magazine says that we should stop trying to think about ways to get more listeners and think about trying to crush it in your niche. In the future, everyone will have a podcast, so start yours now. So what is podcasting? So for those of you all who clearly know what it is, I don't need to deliver this answer for you, but I realize there's some new people on this evening who are pretty much unsure about what podcasting is. So let's go through just a couple of basics around podcasting. Basically, it's a broadcast or webcast streamed as digital files on directories like iTunes, Stitcher Radio. It can certainly happen on your web page. Gives you the opportunity to do that. But podcasts attract people who want to choose their content. They decide to subscribe, they watch, and they listen at their leisure. And shows, these shows typically offer a huge variety over traditional radio or TV. Who's podcasting? Well, just about anybody with any niche. I subscribe to several different podcast shows, and I totally enjoy some of the podcasters who have content and value that are quite interesting and away from mainstream. You could decide that you want to do a podcast on your favorite political influence. You might decide that you'd want to, you're a chef and you enjoy talking about different meals that you're preparing. Maybe you're passionate around a topic on healthcare and you decide that your podcast show is that. It doesn't necessarily need to be focusing on business, although most podcasters do that. It's simple to do, it's affordable, and it's fun, and it really is opening up the opportunity for people to do them from just about any place. So where can you podcast? Well, basically at your home. You can become a rock star from your kitchen table, your office, your bedroom closet. You really just need a microphone, a computer, and most of us, have that, or a cell phone, so it's made it very easy for most people to get started podcasting. You probably have most of the recording and editing equipment on your computer and on your cell phone, as I mentioned. We're going to go through some of that later on. But here's my big question for you. If you've been teetering and you've been thinking about developing a show, what are you waiting for? What's been holding you back? All right, let me guess. Probably technology, right? You think this is too technical, there are too many components that you don't understand. Maybe the tools, thinking about all of the things that you're going to need in place in order to do a podcast or a video podcast. Perhaps it's timing. As you're trying to measure your busy lifestyle, do you have the time to actually put together a show and produce it? Is that what is holding you back? Target, you're thinking about who is my target audience. Maybe you're not clear about your niche or your target audience. Or perhaps you're being held back as to whether or not you have the talent. All of these things, tech, tools, timing, target, and talent, are things that you can develop and develop successfully in order to have a podcast. So let's dive in a little bit deeper and talk about the elements of podcasting, but more importantly, 14 reasons why you should start your own podcast or video podcast show. I have to tell you, as I considered these, it made absolute sense to me that podcasting is the best medium to deliver free, targeted, and on-demand content. Under no other circumstances is it giving people the opportunity to breathe life into a subject and then get it out to the world to consume in a free, targeted, and on-demand way. Secondly, your content is available 24/7 on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, up to 50 other podcast directories, and your website. So think about that for a moment. You're not only just delivering your message through your website, but now people can consume it anytime on iTunes, and iTunes has 525 million people subscribed to or going out to iTunes. Surely you would want a piece of that pie, right? Your audience can freely download, watch, and listen from multiple devices, computers, cell phones, car dashboards. They're all available for you. I asked earlier if there was anyone who's currently listening to podcasts via their car dashboards. In these newer cars these days give you the opportunity to do that. I can't wait for the next couple of years when it's time to trade in my vehicle and get a new one, because I will make sure that I can easily listen to my podcast right from my car dashboard. Podcasting is a great way to build a loyal audience and narrow in on your audience needs. Podcasting, of course, with this ability to build a loyal audience. Think about that. If you own a business and you're hoping to attract the perfect client or customer, you want that loyalty. So when they're ready to buy, when they're ready to support you, you already have them in place because they've been listening to you and consuming your content via your podcast. You build connection with people. They get to know, like, and trust you. You know, bloggers have had great success writing a blog and having people read their content and getting close to them. With a podcast or video podcast, that connection is further deepened because they get to listen to your voice or watch you and listen as well. This is also your chance to set yourself apart from the field and lead the parade. Get ahead of everyone else with your own podcast. You also have the opportunity to develop multiple streams of income from your podcast. We're going to dive into that a little bit more on this training, but several podcasters are doing very well financially as a result of having a show and growing it over a period of time. It's not necessarily an overnight success, but with time and with commitment, you're able to parlay in several different streams of income. You can bridge your social media contacts through podcasting. You start to, have a place now where you can drive your Facebook traffic, your Twitter traffic, your LinkedIn traffic, letting them know from your podcast that you've got, all of those other social media places in social media homes in place, and now you can drive that traffic back to you to have them listen to your podcast. Leverage affiliate and JV relationships to help you build your base and your influence. Podcasting has traditionally afforded people the opportunity to share other people's products and services. When you have a relationship with others that you are promoting their products or service through your podcast and you're earning a referral affiliate commission, that's a great way to line your pockets with some extra money simply by promoting other people's products or services as their JV or their affiliate. You can be your best advertiser and sell more of your products, services, books, and programs. So as a podcaster, you now also, maybe you dabble in a network marketing company or you've got some other outside products and services. You build advertising spots within your show to promote those products and services. What a great way, if you're building this audience and they're listening to you, this is a great opportunity for you to expose them to your other products, services, books, and programs. You also get the opportunity to establish professional credibility and build powerful connections with experts in your field. I love this for that reason. When you can highlight a featured guest on your show who is an expert in their field, now you're not only positioning yourself as the authority, but you're sharing that space with them, and hopefully they're going to take your podcast and now share it with their social media contacts or their database. So imagine the type of professional credibility and powerful connections that you're able to build. 12, leverage your show guest contacts. That piggybacks on what I just said. You've got a guest on your show who, has 10,000 people in their database. When they have featured on your show as a guest, they send out an email letting them know, hey, check me out. I was just on so-and-so's podcast. Now you've been exposed to your show guests' contacts, and a whole new opportunity opens up to build relationships with those new people. I love podcasting for that. Being one of the big reasons why I love podcasting. You also give the opportunity to provide value and meaning and purpose to your passions. Think about that. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, if you're ready to share it with the world, you get to provide the value, meaning, and purpose around that. And then 14, be a part of the biggest wave of content delivery. If you took your time getting onto Facebook years ago, and I was certainly one of those people, afraid to, get into that whole social media scene. I knew that it was coming. I knew I needed to do it, but I wish that I had done it a lot sooner. Don't make that mistake if you're serious about podcasting. Now is the time to be a part of the biggest wave of content delivery, and you can't afford to wait on that. So let me tell you my story. Really, it's really funny. I grew up in Detroit. My mom pretty much raised me and my two younger brothers, and I have some other sisters that are in my life. But as a young girl in Detroit, I've had, we grew up and we poor. I mean, that's probably the best way to say it. We moved 14 times before I was the age 13. But I was always this big dreamer. I was always this person who knew that I was going to go places and do things. And I've been very fortunate in my life to take those dreams very far. And as I share with you more about my story, you'll get to know that. I am married to my husband, Arnold Tarpley. We've been married some 20 years, and we also have a beautiful son, Trey. He is away at college at Vanderbilt University, and is a freshman there playing with the Commodores. Go Doors! So very proud of him. I've spent the last 25 years in television, a television news anchor for WPXI in Pittsburgh. Spent some 20 years there and retired about a year and a half ago to continue to pursue my dreams, but really enjoyed the time that I spent as a news anchor, as well as doing some outside production projects. I'm getting ready to launch a new book. So I have authored a book, some of which I repurposed from the contents from my show, and I'll talk a little bit more about ways that you can do that. So that book will be coming out soon. I also have spent the last 3 years as an It Works Global distributor marketing the skinny wraps. I was very fortunate in the last year to actually be the 54th highest paid distributor with that company. So I clearly know a thing or two about working hard and building a team and having some things in place. I also owned a small fitness studio in Pittsburgh called Full Body Fitness Club, where we focused on a variety of different unique forms of fitness, primarily aerial silk dance, aerial yoga. That's some of my team when we first got started 3 years ago. I've since sold the studio to really focus on podcasting and podcast training, but I'm so proud of the work that this team of people have done in the Pittsburgh area. By the way, the studio's still up, so if ever you're in Pittsburgh and you're looking for a fun place to work out, you'll have to go over to Full Body Fitness Club. I also am undergoing 2 coaching programs. I've been very committed to coaching and personal development, so I'm moving through some certification programs with not just 1, but 2 coaching programs, and I'm very proud of the work that I'm doing as part of that, as well as the work that I'm doing coaching some other clients as well. So anyway, I tell you all of that to say that I felt like I had all of these different interests, and I was trying to find a way to bridge it all, to find a way to marry my experiences in business, as a coach, as an entrepreneur, as a network marketer, as a person in television, and find a way to just get it out to the world. And as I began to discover podcasting and video podcasting, I thought, this would be great, fantastic. But I have to tell you, I had no experience with podcasting or video none. Even though I had, years of experience being in front of the camera, I didn't know the first thing about podcasting or video podcasting. And I would imagine that many of you all who are watching tonight are in that same place, just trying to figure it all out. But I wouldn't let that stop me. I spent thousands of dollars on training. I took months combing the internet, looking for the right equipment, resources, and support, and then I began to piece it all together. And I honestly was challenged by having to piece it together because I felt like I just needed the support to put into place. I will tell you that I had the great opportunity to enroll in another online podcasting course from one of my mentors in this industry, and it made a big difference, and so I'm really grateful for that experience that I had. But I still had tons of questions, especially questions around video podcasting, and what I needed was a little more hand-holding and coaching and less of the technical stuff. But in spite of that, I dug deep and I decided that I was going to get it done. So I launched Hustle and Heart TV. So very proud of this video podcast. I've had the great pleasure of interviewing a variety of very successful entrepreneurs, small business owners, allowing them the opportunity to share their stories with my audience, and it has been such a dream come true. And I decided to put aside any of the challenges going forward after I got launched and just decided to dive deep into it. So you're not probably going to be able to hear this, but this is just a little video clip that I want to share with you. It's part of our open that we use for each of our shows, And if you've not had a chance to watch Hustle and Heart TV, there is a link at the bottom of this page to subscribe to get it sent to you in your email, so at least you can take in some of what we do as part of Hustle and Heart TV. Just going to grab a drink of water, so bear with me 1 second. So that is my baby, and there are a lot of people who work to make this very special, and I'm happy that we've been able to put this out for the world to enjoy. This is what's happened to me as part of my podcasting journey. I ranked #1 on iTunes for 10 weeks in New and Noteworthy. That was tremendous. I have to tell you, it made all of the difference when I first got started. More so because it allowed me the opportunity to get subscribers in over 20 different countries. As a result of that, each time that I deliver a podcast or a video podcast on iTunes, on Stitcher Radio, we we have the opportunity to enjoy those subscribers taking advantage of our shows, and we'll talk a little bit more about ways that you can do that and strategize to be featured in New and Noteworthy on iTunes. I was able to increase my email list and social media following as a result of having my podcast. I booked dozens of interviews and some speaking engagements. It allowed me the opportunity to be an established authority that, on podcasting and business, and since then I've been able to book some major speaking engagements as a result of it, as well as some additional interviews. This is one of the things I'm most proud about. I earned over $10,000 in advertising revenue in the first month of podcasting. I realize that is somewhat rare, but I believe there's some strategy around doing that and getting yourself into position to monetize your show even before you launch. That can be so powerful in getting you into place and into that monetization role, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. I also was able to implement 5 additional streams of income as a result of podcasting, from affiliate to sponsors to doing some bartering, the speaking engagements as I talked about, and now of course coaching. Those just being some of those additional streams of income that came out of podcasting. I was able to repurpose those interviews as content for my new book. I've always had a book in the back of my head. I just needed to kind of pull the pieces together. Hustle, the book, which will be coming out, I had the opportunity to repurpose some of the interviews early on from Hustle and Heart and get the book out. If you've got a book that you've been waiting to get out there, you can easily take some of your content from your podcast to repurpose and do that. I also have had the opportunity to truly build a rock star team. You can't do this by, at least to the level that I'm working at. It really takes some other hands on deck to do that. And as I mentioned to you, I had the opportunity to introduce you to Kelly at the very beginning. You heard from Allison. The stunning gentleman in the center there is Damian Lynch. He is my videographer. He puts all these beautiful videos together. We've also had some other videographers who've been working with us. And then Terry Foster, you see over there to the right, is helping us out with social media. So this has afforded me the opportunity to build team. And sometimes as you're growing, it makes sense to have the level of support that you need. And so I'm so grateful for each and every one of them and the work that they do to help produce Hustle and Heart TV, as well as this video podcast. So 5 steps to making a podcast. I told you I would share with you just some tidbits around this. You may want to grab pen and paper just to start taking some notes on what you would need to do to get your podcast underway and ready to go. You got to prepare. You really need to spend time before you go out and buy a microphone and buy some editing equipment to think about ways that you want to prepare. And this is just a list of ideas that you want to start to gather. You want to think about the goals around podcasting. Why are you doing it? What do you hope to achieve? What level of energy and time are you going to put into it? You want to be very clear about your niche, your audience, and your avatar. 3 entirely different things. You know, who are you talking to? What is the niche? And more importantly, that single person who's listening or watching your show. Topics, content, and agenda. Spend as much time as you can laying out your agenda for your show, developing the content, and looking at particular topics that you plan to share. Is this an interview type show, or is it a single host? Are you just going to be talking about a particular topic, or will you be interviewing people? Is it just you, or are you going to have multiple hosts involved? Frequency and length of time. How long is your podcast going to be? Half hour, an hour, 15 minutes? How often will you release your podcast? Once a week? Twice a week? I would definitely not recommend once a month, but if that's the time that you have available, that's in case. But you do want to think about frequency and length. Show name and title. Spending enough time thinking about your show name and the title. It took me a couple of months, and I literally wrote it on a whiteboard over and over again, looking for the perfect title that matched what I planned to do with my video podcast. And Hustle and Heart was that last title that came to me that I felt really epitomized what I was looking to do. Spend time thinking about that for yourself. Your show artwork, really important, because that artwork is what people see on iTunes, on Stitcher Radio. You can use that throughout your website, so you want to make sure that your artwork is done and done nicely. Show description. What is the show about? You know what? Give us some real details around the show description. Your keywords, the certain keywords that describe your show and ways that people, if they were to type them in, would be able to find you in search engines. The rundown and show flow. Spend time thinking about that. What does your show look? If you have a half-hour show, are you going to have commercial breaks, pre-rolls, mid-rolls? Are you going to feature different elements throughout your show? You want to spend time on your show flow and your rundown. Any pre-produced elements, these would be bumps and teases that you use throughout your show. The workflow and storyboarding, very important. We lay out Hustle and Heart TV for a couple of months in advance, at least that's the goal, to try and get as much in. And we think about the elements of that several weeks in advance to actually putting it out there. Are you going to be using animations, graphics, bumps and teases? These are all ideas and things that you can start to think about as you get ready to craft your show. You're going to need a website. There are plenty of great websites out there that you can use. I would definitely recommend WordPress, but having a website is very important. Opt-in and squeeze pages, these would be the opportunities for people to sign in using email addresses and then get your content. So lead pages is a big one. It's one that I definitely recommend. Your social media pages, you're going to want to start to tell the world about your podcast. Are you going to dress those up and have those available for people to see the links out to your podcast? Email and database. Of course, you're doing your podcast to start to build the email in the database, but is it in place? Do you have a way to start to capture email addresses from your website? Gathering your show guests. Thinking about who would I interview as show guest and starting to build that list, and you can call it your dream list if you'd like, but you want to start to think about who are some of the guests that you'll have on. What about automation and support? Having the right tools in place to making that happen. And then any offline marketing tactics. All of those things are important. So that's prepare. Then we get to the point where we look at recording. So now we're talking about in video, these are some of the things, and it's not a complete list, but some of the items that you're going to need to do to produce your video podcast show. We use DSLR cameras. We use 3 of them when we go out and shoot Hustle and Heart TV. It's not something that, you know, if for you've got a good cell phone, you can use your cell phone literally to shoot with if you'd like, and I've got a very special partner that will be helping us out to teach how to shoot with your cell phone. You can use a video recorder. Many of us still have those hanging around. That's easy. You can use a Google Hangout. That's what we're doing now. If you invite a guest on, you can easily do that. You can Skype. Skype gives you the opportunity to record video and then repurpose that. You will need a few other tools, obviously a tripod if you're using a DSLR camera, some light so that you get good lighting in, and then microphones. You want good, clear audio, so having a good microphone system is important. For audio, your situation is a little bit different. You're going to you can use, I should say, Pamela or Ecamm. Those are 2 options for recording your interviews. The best ways to do that would probably be interviewing someone via Skype. You can also use something called freeconferencecall.com. I've listened to a couple of podcasts, and it sounds pretty clear using that as an option. You can, of course, do a Google Hangout, use your Zoom microphone if you need to, as I said, your cell phone. And Adello is a fairly new opportunity for you to record and edit and publish your podcast. It's actually one of my favorite and one that I would recommend because it gives you all of these things that we just talked about all in one package. For here, you're also going to need, of course, a microphone. Here are a couple of options for you. ClearShot, AT2020, that's what I use. In fact, that's what I'm using right now. Blue Yeti is a good one. And then you can consider, if you want on the high end, to look at a Heil PR40. That's also a very good mic. But ClearShot works just well, and the ATR 2020s are great too. If you're watching, we do want to ask you to go ahead and join the chat roll. I realize that some people watch and they don't post. It'd be nice if you let us know that you are, that you're there and you're watching. Maybe you've got a question. We want to encourage you to go ahead and just, type your question in there. Let us know where you're from. Let us know if you've got a podcast. Give us the name for your podcast. We'd love to support you. And then let us know if you're planning to launch in the next 30 or 60 or 90 days. So be active in the chat roll for us as you're continuing to view this. So editing. So then after we've got our show recorded, or at least the elements of it recorded, we need to look at our opportunities to edit. And with audio, it's a little bit different. You can choose to edit and bring the elements together in Audition or Audacity. These are literally Audacity and GarageBand are free, and so you can go out onto the internet and then download and use those this equipment to be able to edit your podcast. You also can use Adello, as I mentioned. Again, it's one of my favorites because it allows you to record and edit and then publish all in one place. Adobe Audition is a great tool as well. Costs a little bit of money, but that is an option for you if you'd like to do that. If it's video, now we're talking about a little different process that you'll be using. We've got iMovie, which comes standard with Mac and is pretty easy to learn to utilize. If you've got a PC, Movie Maker will allow you to begin the editing portions for your video. Movavi is relatively new, but I know a lot of people have had a lot of fun using that and fairly inexpensive. Adobe Premiere, that's the big kid on the block, but it's a good one as well. If you're an avid user, you have that. And then YouTube gives you the option to do some editing if you're going to be recording via Google Hangout. Host. This is the most important part. After you have the elements together, we now want to get it out onto the podcast directories. You need to choose a host for that. Libsyn is what I use and certainly is a very good hosting provider for you, but you have the options to choose SoundCloud or Amazon S3. If you're doing video, you might decide that you're only going to put your audio out on a podcast, but you'd like to keep your video on YouTube and on your website, and you can certainly do that as well. And then we're going to work to share it to the world, right? So you've got it out on to your hosting providers who will list it on iTunes, on Stitcher Radio for you. There's 50 other podcast directories. You'll definitely want to make sure that you're listed on those directories. But then with YouTube, I mean, think about it. YouTube is what, the second largest search engine out there? You've got valuable content you want to make available on YouTube. Turn your YouTube channel into the opportunity to expose your video podcast, and then get it out to the world. Share it via Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of the social media opportunities to then now share links so that people can listen and watch your podcast and video podcasts. We have made this available for you. A lot of what I've just talked about are access links that I've made available for you. I want to take you out real quickly and head out to my website so I can show you that a lot of what I just talked about is available for you to go out and literally find the links there. So we talked about preparing. Here's a couple of the lists. If you need a website, if you need hosting, there's lead pages that I talked about. For recording, you have each of these elements that I mentioned as part of the training. Editing, here's your Audacity link, your GarageBand, iMovie, all made simple for you. Hosting, we've got each of the links out to the major hosting providers for you. And then if you need additional tidbits around graphic design or logos, that's there. And then here are the tools of the trade. Some of those handy, needy items that I mentioned are all available for you at my website, dairyofchisholm.com/resources. You can also go out and find those on your own. You definitely don't need to find them out or find them from my page. I do want to mention that they are affiliates in some cases, not all of them, are affiliates of mine, so that is a source of affiliate income. I do want to disclose that to you, but it is all in one place and a good resource for you there. Okay, so if you're now pulling your hair out and you're saying, that was so much information and I don't know where to start, even though you gave me all of that, it's okay. I did that to prove the point. That's exactly where I was. I thought, okay, this all makes sense, but now how do I use it? How do I pull the pieces together? How do I make it make sense? You know, I want to save you the time and the frustration that I experienced, because everything that I just shared with you, I knew I was taking a course, I figured it out, I was piecing it all together, but then I was still a little frazzled about how to do it. And so this gives me the opportunity to talk about solving what I think are the 3 biggest challenges new podcasters face. And that's, given the information, they're almost paralyzed with what to do with it. So how about some coaching and accountability? Imagine if you had a place that you can go where there's some coaching and accountability to hold your hand and move you through this process. Accountability partners who check in with you to help measure, monitor, adjust, and control. A coach who says, listen, you said you were going to launch this podcast on X date. Where are you? Have you gotten what you need in place to get it done? That is what I needed. I needed some coaching and accountability. I know that a lot of newbie podcasters are in that same place, and it can make all the difference in the world for you if you've got a solid coaching and accountability system in place. What about easy access to tools, equipment, and resources? I just shared with you my resource page, but there are a ton of other tools and resources that can help you in this journey. I mentioned to you a moment ago about having the ability to shoot with your cell phone. Do you know how to do that? Do you know that literally if you had a cell phone, you could pull it out, begin to record from your cell phone one of your podcast episodes? Getting you comfortable with that technology is really important, and having a place to turn to learn it is as important. And then what about ways to monetize your podcast? This is significant because when it's all said and done, and months into this, you've got this beautiful video podcast out there, and now you're saying to yourself, okay, now this is great, but it'd be great if I could make some money doing it. Knowing ways to monetize your podcast and how to put those strategies into place early on will save you a lot of time and energy. And so what if you could have that coaching and a place to turn to with questions? How about a step-by-step approach that is high touch and low tech and doesn't seem quite confusing? One-stop shopping for your equipment and your software and the things that you want to have in place. Peer support, the kind of peer support that says, yes, you can do this. We got your back. We're helping you out. And what about the ability to make, market, and monetize your podcast and launch in 90 days or less? If that is your goal. It could be longer than that, but some people say, nope, I want to get it out in 90 days. Having to do that is going to be important. So let me share with you 5 ways that you can work with me, and this is really dependent upon your learning style, and I want to give them to you. I'll break them down for you, but I want to point out that each of them allows you the opportunity to either have more coaching and accountability or less, and it's all dependent on your learning style. The Video Podcast Academy. I am so proud of this project and the amount of support that we're getting to launch this. I'm going to tell you more about it in detail, but the Video Podcast Academy is designed, if you are one of those learners who says, listen, I'm on my own, I can jump in, watch a series of videos, listen to audios, follow PDFs and guides and a trackable system, then the Video Podcast Academy may be ideal for you. You can go out on your own and work at your own pace. You might decide, though, that you're more interested in having some group training, that for you having the opportunity to leverage other people's experience and learn from others and having a place to turn to each week to be coached is where you thrive. And so group training could be an option for you. You may be more inclined to do one-on-one private coaching. For you, it could just be that, listen, if you need that voice that only, that, you know, it's not a crowded place where there's, you know, a lot of competition in terms of people talking, you want the one-on-one attention and private coaching, that could be important to you. Or a VIP private destination intensive. Maybe for you, just good 8 hours, a good 8 to 10 hours of solid work is what you need to maybe get into some different levels of monetization or different opportunities to market. Or maybe you just need a tune-up, I call it, a 90-minute laser strategy session. That could be just what you need to, maybe you already have your podcast out, but you want to look at some other ways to strategize. And so a 90-minute laser strategy session may be ideal for you. The Video Podcast Academy, let me tell you a little bit more about that and what's involved with that. It is for anyone who is ready to start, grow, and expand their podcast. And we're not just talking video podcast. It is, of course, those available for audio and video. Anyone with a podcast looking to take it to the next level. Inside of the Academy, you're going to find that you're able to make, market, and monetize following a series of videos. We've got a resources cafe available for you with all of those special links that we talked about, a members union, alumni directory, and a coaches corner. I'm going to take you out live because I want to show you what we've put into place. But before I do that, I also want to tell you that as part of the Academy, you have special access to member discounts from some of our amazing instructors that we're putting into place to teach different modules inside of the Academy. You'll also have access to monthly live webinars and trainings with those expert Academy instructors. You've got lifetime membership, so you'll always be able to come back in, a private Facebook community to turn to, the ability to showcase your podcast and book guests, and the accountability partners that we talked about. So let me take you out because I want to show you the inside of the Video Podcast Academy. It's still very much under development, but we're busy putting and adding in different elements. You're able to see this is the home page, the orientation page that lets you know the lay of the land and gets you organized. This is the orientation page. Each of the elements are loaded in the podcast, the Video Podcast Academy, under Make, Market, and Monetize. So depending on where you are in the process, you're going to start watching a series of videos. So let's say you're just beginning. Oh, got logged out there. I spent a little bit of time inside, too much time inside there. Let's see if I can hop back in really quickly. All right. We won't worry so much about that. I'll tell you more if you had an opportunity to see some of that. I don't want to spend much time trying to log back in. But basically, as I pointed out, I'll move back a slide, each of the elements are broken into 3 categories: make, market, and monetize. So if you've got a podcast and you're in the process of looking at ways to better market it, you might start off in the marketing section. Let's say you're in full swing and you're looking for ways to monetize. You have the opportunity to monetize from that side as well. So I'm going to keep moving here because we've got a few more things that I want to cover, and for the sake of time, I want to let you know the price of the Video Podcast Academy. So when this launches in the spring, it will be released at $9.97. But we're offering a special pre-launch special of $7.97. So you've got a $200 savings if you act now before we release the Video Podcast Academy. And as a founding member, you'll have access to the early modules that we begin to put in at a $200 discount. So that is huge to take advantage of it prior to the official launch. The other great thing about this is I'm offering an extra $100 off tonight because you're on this live training, so you can take advantage of the Video Podcast Academy tonight and tonight only for $6.97. So that's a $300 savings. And you just need to enter in promo code 100. Don't go anywhere because I'm actually going to take you out to the site that you'll want to click on so that you're able to purchase from there. But you would enter promo code 100 to save an additional $100 on the Video Podcast Academy because you're here this evening, and I want to make sure that you have a fast action bonus available for you. Now, if you're more inclined to doing group coaching, then Unleash Your Voice, Igniting the Power of Podcasting may be right up your alley. This is a 12-week group coaching program that begins on March 10th, and we will have 12 live 90-minute sessions in addition to this ability to be held accountable. And this is probably, if what you're looking for is a high-touch, low-tech model to follow, you're going to want to take advantage of the 12-week group coaching program that we'll be launching. 12 weeks of live coaching and training and accountability with action plans, and our guest experts will be as part of the training, as well as taking some of your questions live. You'll also have access to PDFs, workbooks, checklists, blueprints, all of this available for you as part of your 12 weeks. Each week you will receive a new module that's emailed to you, and we'll go through each of those with the intent and the goal to get your podcast off the ground and running. You also get free lifetime membership to the Video Podcast Academy. So in addition to having the 12 weeks of live coaching, you get access to the Video Podcast Academy, which is cool because now you've got that as well. So 12 weeks to podcasting. We've got a calendar here. If for you getting a podcast on the air by summer is your goal, then being a part of Unleash Your Voice, this 12-week program is going to be important for you. So let's talk a little bit about this. So again, you get the Video Podcast Academy. I want to tell you about the value of what you're getting as part of this 12-week group training program. You also get 12 live 90-minute coaching sessions with me. That is a $6,000 value. So at 12 live 90-minute coaching sessions, you're getting that as part of being in this group training program. You're also getting access to the Video Marketing Pocket Guide, which is about a 60-page read that's filled with lots of fun tidbits around producing videos and marketing them as well. And so that's all available for you. So if we added all of that up and we looked at the total value of that, that's over $7,000. So over $7,000 in coaching that's available for you. But your investment for Unleash Your Voice, the 12-week group training program, is $3,000. And as we mentioned, you get the 12 weeks, you get the Video Podcast Academy, plus I'm going to add in an additional $200 savings. So if you use promo code 200, that's going to save you an extra $200 on this. And we do have payment plans available. So if for you need to take advantage of one of the payment plans, you're certainly welcome to do that. If one-on-one coaching, private coaching, is what is best for you, or perhaps looking at the opportunity to do VIP, one-day intensives, then that is, I'm happy to do those. I'll be doing them in Pittsburgh. I will be doing them I'm going to Paris in May, so I'm hoping that I'll have a few clients who can meet me there. And then in Los Angeles over the summer. So if you're more inclined to do more one-on-one private coaching, that is available for you as well. Let me take you out to where, and then there's the 90-minute strategy call. Remember, I mentioned that that's the 5th way that you can work with me. I want to take you out and share with you the opportunity to put in those promo codes so you're very clear about what's available for you. I'm also giving you a 14-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee on the Video Podcast Academy. So if you decide that this isn't right for you, you can get a refund. No questions asked. It's 100% money-back guarantee. I want you to take advantage of that. The podcast coaching program. So this is the website that you'd need to go to input those promo codes and to get enrolled in any of the programs. I want to take you out live to them just to show you what we have in place. So if you're there on my screen, you're able to see that. So here's the Video Podcast Academy. If you decide that that's what you're interested in enrolling in, you simply click there. There, the opportunity for if you need a payment plan, that's in place. Remember, I mentioned that we are taking $200 off, so it's already been reduced. But if you act tonight and you enter promo code 100 and apply it, we're going to take an extra $100 off. So the Video Podcast Academy at $697 today during this training. You just hit checkout, pay with credit card and or with your PayPal. So that is the Video Podcast Academy, but as I mentioned, maybe the group training program is what you're looking to do, and if that's the case, let's take a look at that. Unleash Your Voice, Igniting the Power of Podcasting. You've got a couple of different options there for payment plan. We're going to go ahead and add that one to cart. We're going to remove the Video Podcast Academy from here because you will be getting that as part of enrolling in this course. And then we're going to apply promo code 200, and we'll take $200 off the price of that tonight. So $2,800 to have the 12 weeks of group coaching as well as access to the Video Podcast Academy. All available for you. Again, the website that you'll need to go to is podcastcoachingprograms.com, podcastcoachingprograms.com. You're able to enroll in private one-on-one if that's what you're interested in, as well as some laser coaching if you decide that you just need the 90 minutes. That link is available for you there. Okay, I have been barreling through a lot of information, including, obviously, I want to see if I can pull back out here, and there we go. The 12-week group coaching program begins on March 10th at 8 p.m. There are limited seats. We're going to take a smaller group of people for this training program, so I do encourage you to act fast and get enrolled, because once that's filled, it probably will be another 3 or 4 months before we put another class like this together. So I would encourage you to go ahead and enroll to take part of that. All right, I want to tell you what some of my coaching clients have experienced. Better yet, I'd love to bring on one of my coaching clients, Denise LaRosa. If you are with us and you can unmute your mic for us, and let's see here, I'm gonna pull this out and minimize this. And there we go. Okay, so I'm back. Fantastic. All right, so Denise, can we hear from you if you're out there?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you so much. So Denise, share with us the experience that you've had with podcasting and some of the successes that you've been enjoying.
Absolutely. First of all, Darieth, it's a pleasure to be here with you today, and everyone, welcome. And I wish I had have actually tapped into the wealth of knowledge that Darieth has much sooner than I did. I actually had started my podcast in September, and around November I realized, I was a little stalled, that I needed that coaching, that one-on-one, so I signed up for her VIP intensive one-day coaching, and I tell you what, within 16 days, I was able to monetize my podcast. My little podcast that was on Blog Talk Radio is now number 4 in the new and noteworthy category for kids and family. And I have my first sponsors on board, and all of that happened within 16 days of my coaching intensive session with Darieth. And there's just no turning back. It's like the sky's the limit at this point. And I just really can attest to the wealth of knowledge that she has and how important it is that you don't go on this journey alone. I had a teaching degree, and I'm a mom of 2 little ones, and so I just wanted to talk about my joys and challenges in motherhood. And it just has turned into a wonderful way for me to work from home and make an income, and more importantly, make an impact on the mothers who are listening to the show.
Denise, I am so proud of you. I mean, it has just been such a pleasure to work with you. I know that we spent, that 8 hours was pretty intense, and we mapped out some significant goals, and for you to be accomplishing those. I mean, as a coach, I am so proud of you, but as a woman who's watching you bloom and prosper with your podcast, it's just so impactful for me. So I'm happy about that.
Oh, thank you so much. And you just really hit on something that I would like to, kind of finish off with, I suppose, is you mentioned how I acted on that, and that is important, that you take the experience that you would get with a one-on-one coaching or the Video Podcast Academy, and the wealth of knowledge is there, but then you have to take that and put it into action. But you give all of the resources, and it's not just a one-day or one-time thing. You make yourself available, and I just really think it is a wonderful program. And if you have a dream to start a podcast and you want to market it, grow it, and monetize it fast, this is the way to do it.
Great. Well, again, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy that you're experiencing the level of success that you have. And you took a big leap. I mean, you did an intensive and invested money in that, but you knew that in investing in yourself, it would make a huge difference, and it has. And that's wonderful. So congratulations. And what number 4? I knew and know where to go.
Thank you. And that investment is like, I was able to double that. I got that back and then some, like I said, with the first sponsor. So yes, it's a hefty investment, but it's well worth it.
Great, great. Well, congratulations, and thanks so much for coming on and sharing.
Sure.
All right, let me see. I'm going to head right back out if I can, just to where we were, and let's see if I'm able to pull this up. You know, this technology is so much fun, especially when you're trying to manipulate multiple screens. So, Denise, again, thank you so much. We're going to keep moving through here. I just want to let you know, we covered a lot today, and you know, I realize that many of you all probably have questions. If you go out to dariethchisholm.com/coaching, dariethchisholm.com/coaching, I'm going to actually go out on, and if I could get someone on my team to let me know if I am screen sharing at this moment. I want to make sure that I'm doing that. So if someone can just send me a quick message. Yep, I'm good. Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate that. All right, so dariethchisholm.com/coaching. Everything that I talked about today in terms of what's available in each of those coaching programs is here at this website. So if you need to read a little bit more, if you need to do a little more investigation, if you need to process this, then this is what back on Prezi. So this is what we want you to do, is we want you to go out to dariethchisholm.com/coaching and then read a little bit more about it. Also, the opportunity to reserve a complimentary discovery session. I realize that this could be a major undertaking in terms of your time and your commitment, and you want to process that. Perhaps financially, you're looking at ways to try and figure it out. Call me. Let's discuss it. Let's put together, you know, let's talk about the different elements that you would need to get started with your podcast. And by all means, I mean, scheduling a quick discovery session with me is perhaps the best way to move forward with that. But so you'll get all of those details at dariethchisholm.com/coaching. And if you're ready to get enrolled in one of the programs that we have, I would strongly encourage you to head out to podcast coaching programs. And let's see if I can get back to, there we go, podcastcoachingprograms.com. And then, you know, enroll. That's what we want. We want to see you get enrolled tonight in order to take advantage of that savings that we talked about, or $100 off the Video Podcast Academy, or if you're going to be joining the 12-week group coaching program, or perhaps doing some one-on-one coaching, you'll have the opportunity to save $200 tonight. So with that said, I would love to give away a free gift. I want to do a free gift to someone out there. And so, Kelly, I think if you can just give me a size up on what you're seeing on the screen, just so I'm clear about that, and then let me know who we're choosing to receive a free gift from me. Let's see, where are we? Let's go back here, and then just give me a heads up, if you would, on what we're seeing on the screen and who I am giving this free gift to tonight. I'm waiting to hear this. You may have to, if you want, you can jump back on and let me know. All right. I'm waiting on this. It's almost like a drum roll, right? That's what's exciting about this. Kelly, you with us?
I am with you.
Okay, all right. So let me know who's getting the opportunity this evening to have a free 90-minute laser strategy session. Remember, we offered this at the very beginning, the opportunity to, if you stayed on and you were active in the chat, I want to be able to give this to you. So, oops, there we go.
We did. So it's Melkin72 is the winner this evening.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Melkin, MELKAM 72. That is the winner.
Great. All right. So So what's
She
going
is
to
on
happen is Kelly will, of course, post that into the chat roll, and if you will contact her so we can get you scheduled for this free laser strategy session, that would be fantastic. Would love to be able to do that for you. And once again, I do want to let you know, if for you, getting involved in one of these programs right away is the the opportunity for you to begin your podcast journey. Take the jump. I mean, it's interesting. I titled the name of my company Jump Fly Media because I'm all about taking action and inspired action. And so as a result of just getting into inspired action, it's afforded me the opportunity to impact several people's lives, not only through coaching, but certainly through my own podcast journey. And if you're in that position where you're thinking, I really do want a high-touch, low-tech approach to doing this. I really do want the opportunity to be in a group training program, or I want to do it at my own pace. Getting involved with the Video Podcast Academy and watching those series of videos from experts who can teach you things like how to get comfortable doing a Google Hangout, which takes a little bit of practice. We'll have experts inside of the Academy who can teach you that. How to get comfortable on camera. I mean, knowing what it means to just, plug in a microphone and being comfortable on camera. If you had a place to turn to with a series of videos to teach you that, would that make all of the difference for you? Perhaps what would be important is learning how to shoot with your cell phone. We talked a lot about that. There are people who are making major strides with their cell phones. You'll have the opportunity to learn that as part of the Video Podcast Academy. So all I want to do is just really encourage you to go after your dreams and unleash your voice. If all of this tonight was just the precursor and the introduction to the ability to podcast, then I'm happy that I extended the invitation for you to start to explore it. If you're not quite ready to move forward and you'd like to schedule a free discovery session with me, I am happy to provide you with that opportunity to talk one-on-one with me to start to explore the ideas around that. Again, the websites to turn to in order to get more details about the programs as well as schedule a complimentary discovery session is my website, dariathchisholm.com/coaching. I believe either Kelly or Allison is going to post that for you in the chat roll, so you can click on that link if you need to. And then, of course, if you're interested in either enrolling in the Video Podcast Academy or one of the coaching programs, the website to go to for that is podcastcoachingprograms.com, and they'll provide that link for you in the chat roll as well. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I definitely want to thank my team for helping to put this on. You guys mean the world to me. This has been a tremendous evening. This is my first online live Google Hangout training under these circumstances. I'm away from everyone here in Florida, but so far so good. At least we made it on the air. We had a couple of blips in there, but that's okay. That's technology, right? We keep it rolling no matter what. But thank you so much for being a part of today's training. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for taking the steps to begin to unleash your voice. I'll see you guys soon.